So with that, we can move right along to the Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams, who sold it all to win that ring, and they got it. So it'll be interesting conversation moving forward. So they've got negative $10 million in cap, and they have quite a bit of impending free agents. Andrew Whitworth is an interesting one. He's under contract, but there's an impending retirement on the horizon, maybe. Nothing's been heard about that, but I would maybe expect that to come in the next few days. Odell Beckham Jr., Brian Allen, their starting center, Austin Corbett, their starting guard, Sebastian Joseph Day, a good run defense stopper, a guy that can plug up the middle. Von Miller, of course, Darius Williams, their number 2 corner, and Aaron Donald, who will pretty soon be asking for another record-breaking contract for a defensive tackle. So some interesting things to think about for the Rams. Not a lot of options through the draft since they don't have a first or second round pick. And I believe their third round pick is just a compensatory pick. So it's basically a 4th rounder. So they don't have a ton of options, but they can move some contracts around maybe, and maybe just kick the can down the road a little bit like the Saints did the last few years before their rebuild or retool, more like. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's an interesting offseason for the Rams. Obviously, after you win a Super Bowl, you want to ultimately find ways to keep a lot of the contributing players. But it's ultimately hard to do that. And that's why you see a lot of turnover after teams win to get big money, typically after those type of seasons. In terms of the Rams, interior off, I think offensive line in general needs to be at the top of their priorities list heading into this offseason. Obviously, you mentioned Brian Allen and Austin Corbett, both free agents. And then the impending retirement of Andrew Whitworth. I think if you could bring back a guy in Joseph Noteboom, a guy who played in limited capacity last year when they had injuries, but when I saw him played pretty well and filling in. I would try to bring him back just for some depth, and then maybe go explore another cheaper option on the free agent market. That would be, but offensive line has to be a priority for the Rams going into this offseason. They do need to get younger and more youthful on the offensive line, and I think that would help them. I don't know what they plan to do with a guy like Brian Allen or Austin Corbett. Maybe bring both of them back. I don't know. Maybe I don't know too much about them, so I'm not going to go too far down that road. I would try to bring back Sebastian Joseph Day. Cheap contract, some depth on that defensive line. Played well last year in stretches. Sony Michel is also a free agent, but with Darrell Henderson healthy, probably going into next season with obviously Cam Akers and others, they could probably do without him, but who knows? He might be a valuable piece. Depth at that position never hurts. But I think the 3 big names, Von Miller, guy who came in, Odell Beckham Jr. came in, made an immediate impact, and Darius Williams, a guy I think is going to be highly touted on the free agent market. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get him back without some, highly creative cat maneuvering that maybe they can do, but I think they're probably going to end up losing one of these 3 players, if not 2. I would certainly try to bring back Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. I do think they can find probably a cheaper option as that number 2 cornerback on the free agent market. I do know my Steelers are interested in a guy like Darius Williams and have the cap space to give a guy like that what he wants. There are teams that are desperate for secondary help, so I do not think that there would try to get back Odell Beckham Jr. He's another ACL injury. You might be able to get him back on like a 1 year deal, another 1 year deal, cheapish for a guy like that. And then Von Miller. Rushing is so important in today's NFL. What he can give you, the veteran presence, all that, the leadership, the production. He'll certainly demand a good amount, but I don't think it's impossible with all the stuff that you can do to maneuver the cap in today's NFL. So, and I think they could probably add depth at linebacker, especially middle linebacker. I think that's been a problem for them years past. Maybe I don't know how you do that, but I think there are some names out there in the free agent market that maybe they could look into.
Right, exactly. It's going to be tough to bring everybody back, but I expect as long as they can keep some of their offensive line intact, I expect that offense to still be really, really good next year and possibly even better than they were last year, more consistent.
And who knows? Oh, sorry to interrupt, but who knows? They might not even need Odell Beckham because a guy like Robert Woods, solid number 2 guy behind Cooper Kupp, thinks that he can win this offense. He's going to be returning healthy this year. But the Rams, they can never have enough of anything, right? So, and I think what Odell Beckham gave them in that playoff run, now with his injury, to back on a bargain deal, could be something that we'll look into. But I don't know. Say what you were gonna say.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Actually, wait. I was gonna say, like, I think as long as they can keep their offensive line somewhat intact, that offense should be possibly even better than they were last year, more consistent. In year 2 of Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay's system, they should have a little bit more chemistry, a little bit more polish from game to game. So as long as the offense somewhat stays intact, I think this team will still be really good. They'll still have a lot of star power. So they'll be a threat no matter what.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to take a break.
Right.
And then we'll come back and we'll address the AFC West and then we'll sign out.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, make sure to click on one of these 2 videos right here, our latest video right here on the left, or the video YouTube recommends for you on the right.